here we go. Hi, I am Dr. Jacob Lauritzen, and this is Read, Write, and Cite, the channel where I teach you how to read, write, and cite for your college classes. This is another video that lines up with one of my online classes. I offer this class through Eastern Arizona College, but even if you're not a student there, you are welcome to watch this if you want. But this video is probably most useful to students who are taking my English 102 class. So that's what we're going to talk about. Okay, so I'm recording this at the end of June. This class starts next week. And I just wanted to get an overview on how the class is going to work, how it's going to operate, so that as you take this class, it's going to make sense. Okay, so if this is your first time taking a class with me, welcome. Thank you very much. I guess I tell you a little bit about myself. I've been teaching at the college for 9 years, and this is going to be starting my 10th year. I'm very interested in online learning, especially trying to figure out ways to do it really well. That's what I got my doctorate in. It's in e-learning. My master's is in English. So that's why you see me teaching an online class for English. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and switch my screen over so that you can see what I've got on my screen. Okay, so here at Eastern Arizona College this summer, we switched to a new website for our online classes. We call this a learning management system, and we just switched over to one called Instructure. You're going to hear them call it Canvas. That's the name for this product that Instructure makes. So as you log into the class, this is probably what you're going to see. Well, you'll see a list of all your different classes, but then once you're inside, it's going to call it Writing Fundamentals 2, or Written Composition 2. Sorry. You'll see these tabs on the left, and you'll see some of this, right? This is not what I normally see as a teacher. This is the student view, so it's supposed to be similar. Some things will open up over time, so you'll be able to see things as they happen. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about how to navigate and get around this. On the left-hand side of the screen, once you're in the actual course, you'll see links for assignments, discussions, grades, people pages, files, syllabus, quizzes, modules, conferences, collaborations, and badges. I'm not using any of these right here, so there won't be anything there for you. But yes, there are assignments, there are discussions, there are grades. Oh, there will be grades. And of course, you can see other people in the class. Pages, they're kind of what make up how everything works. Okay, so this is what you're probably going to see if you logged in right now. You wouldn't see anything because it's designed to unlock over time. So June 30th, which is 3 days from now, will be the earliest any of you will get in. You'll be able to see this. This is the first module. I'm going to switch back over to the teacher view just so that I can show you every page, because right now you won't be able to see it. Okay, so the first thing you're going to see is it's going to show you Welcome to English 102, and the other things will be locked because you have to finish things to move on to the next one. But some of them are also blocked by date so that you don't get into them too quick. You know, you're not taking the final in the first week of class. Make sense? Okay. So first thing you're going to do, you're going to see Welcome to English 102. You'll click on this link and it's going to give you, oh, welcome. And, you know, this is basically your syllabus right here for the class. At the bottom, you'll see a button that says Next. I've also put other links. But one thing I've done that is different for this class is I've actually made a PDF document that includes the entire course. So if you click on this, you can download all like 60, give or take, pages of every single thing that's on the website, so that you always have it with you. And you know, if you need the class on the go, if you want to be able to read something that's part of it, or you want to know what the assignments are coming up, you can see everything there. Even though I've got everything kind of blocked out by date, you can see all the assignments except for the final ahead of time. So nothing's secret. It's just blocked from you getting to it too soon. But this you can download day one. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I'll show you what it looks like. Boom. Okay, so it looks like this. Actually, I'll switch over. Okay, so it looks like this. It says English 102 written composition. It's got my name. It's got all the pages and all your activities and everything that you're doing. This explains everything. So everything you see here is also on the website, except for some of the pictures, because they just aren't working the way I want them to. Maybe they'll show up later. But every single activity that you have to do, along with how many points everything is worth, everything is here in this document. So I highly encourage you to download this, not just because I put a lot of time into making it, but because I think it's really going to be useful to you. I think it's going to be really helpful. Okay, so back to the website. Okay, let's talk about how this class is going to work. You are going to complete a number of different assignments, participate in some discussions, do a couple tests. That's the whole class. So if I click here on syllabus, it's not the kind of syllabus you think. It's just a list of the assignments and when they are due. Yeah, so here are the dates. Okay, so here are the activities. A discussion saying, hey, I'm here and this is who I am. You got to do your pretest. And then at the end of the first week, you got a big fiction paper. There's some activities which you'll see in that document that you can download, plus in the actual home tab, all your module stuff. You'll be able to see how to get ready for this big assignment, right? So each week is basically you've got a discussion and some sort of written paper that you have to do. At EAC, 102 is a little bit different than what some other colleges or universities run. The primary purpose for English 102 is that this class is a class to teach you how to write research, right? English 101 teaches you how to write essays. English 102 teaches you how to write research. But what 102 is also what EAC requires in 102 is also a little bit about literature. And so you'll see that you're writing a fiction paper and a poetry paper. You're going to be writing a literary analysis. So it's like, how do we make this make sense in a 5-week class when 2 weeks we have to spend on literature and then the rest is about research? Well, you're actually going to be learning how to conduct research, how to read research, and use research to write a paper for these first 2 weeks. So that's what that is about. But then week 3 and 4 and 5, they're called modules. 3, 4, 5. You'll be going through a process of writing what's the equivalent to a conference paper. I keep showing the screen, but here we go. Here's the actual screen. Okay. So this is what you do during week 3 of the class. This is what you do during week 4 of the class. This is what you do during week 5 of the class. This is an ungraded discussion. No, I should probably put that back in. Okay. A couple things to tweak before you get to this. Okay. So basically the concept for the class, kind of the narrative I've created, is that in the real world, you may take college classes and you're like, I'm never going to use this in the real world. And maybe you're right? There's stuff you learn that's just for your benefit because, people think you need to know it. But beyond that, we do have things that actually compare to the real world. Especially if you go far into school, you become an academic. You're going to be writing research. You're going to be doing big, fancy papers. Well, in the real world, the process that research goes through, it kind of starts with a proposal, right? You come up with an idea, you send it into someone, say, hey, can I do something on this? If you want to get into a conference where you're going to present research, you send in a proposal, or if you've already done the research, you send in an abstract, kind of the same thing, just one happens before you've done it and one happens after you've done it. Basically saying, hey, I've done this research, or I want to do this research. Can I present it at your conference? And they're like, sure, sounds great. We need people. Then what follows after that is you would actually write out a paper. Now, if you're going to present at a conference, you write a conference length paper, which is about 8, 9, 10 pages, give or take, depending on the conference. That is also about how long EAC requires your big research paper for the semester to be. So I'm like, this makes sense. Let's just structure the class like we have a conference. I hope that makes sense and it's interesting. So basically what we do during weeks 3, 4, and 5 of the class, you've learned how to kind of use the library online resources and how to do research and how to write analysis during weeks 1 and 2. But during 3, 4, and 5 is when you dig in. You write your research paper proposal, you write a literature review, you write up the paper, you present it to the class through the discussion forum, and of course you take the final. So the idea is this. Week 5 of the class is our conference where we present to each other, and before that we're prepping for it. Make sense? I hope that makes sense. I tried to make a story of the class so it makes sense while you're doing all these things together. So that's why I do that. Let me talk a little bit about what you're graded on. Okay, you take a pretest. The pretest is required, but it does not affect your grade, as pretests probably should be. Your post-test is required. It is part of your grade, about 10%, and you want to do well. You'll be doing some writing for that. Okay, but everything else is basically you discuss and you write. So the class only has 13 activities, give or take, which is not a whole lot, but when you're doing it in 5 weeks and each activity is kind of big, it's going to feel like it's a lot of work. Okay, so the discussions are designed to be opportunities. Let me go ahead and open up one of these. They're designed to be opportunities for you to ask questions and to share and learn from each other, right? So I personally, I don't like when teachers require students to, everybody has to post and you have to comment on everybody else, because they're trying to promote and create like a discussion. I find that there's a lot of flaws with that. Not that creating a discussion isn't good, but because it's so easy to game the system. Does that make sense? So what I've done for weeks 1 through 3 is the forum is here for you to ask questions and to benefit from each other. But honestly, if you feel like you're good, you don't have any questions, you don't need anything from me. All I need for you to do is to post saying, I'm good. And that's going to count as your attendance for the week. Make sense? That's it. And I give you points for it. So, yay, you checked in. But here's the thing. You're also holding yourself accountable that if you say you got it, I mean, you can't really complain either, right? Because this is a great place for you to ask questions. Think of this as this is the class, right? You do all your work to learn outside of class. You're reading chapters from the book. You're watching videos, and I have a lot of videos posted. And you're doing the hard work. But if you need to talk to someone about what's happening, the discussion is the place to do it. So on week 1, it's fiction. On week 2, it's poetry. You're looking at week 2's discussion right here. And I pose some questions you might want to know. Well, what's the difference between closed form and open form poems? Well, let me show this. What's the difference between closed form and open form? Rhyme and meter. Or let's talk about scholarly articles. Or if there's something else, you just ask the other thing. I mean, it's fine. I'm here to answer your questions. If you are uncomfortable posting your question to the group, that is fine. You still got to check in, but you can just email me, and I'll respond to those. I try to check my email at least twice a day so I can so nothing slips through the cracks, right? But the idea is this. This is here as a resource for you, right? But weeks 4 and 5 of the class, the forums are different. You have to you have to post something specific. You can't just say, well, I'm here. So week 4 of the class, you are posting your annotated bibliography to the group. There's a couple of reasons for this. One is, this is how you show me, and I give you credit for having written your annotated bibliography, which I explained in other videos and is explained in the course itself. But this is also an opportunity for you to share your research with everybody. And if you have a source that's going to help someone else, they can use it. Isn't that awesome? It's like we're sharing. Week 5, I'm going back up. Week 5 of the class, this is where you're going to create like an actual PowerPoint or Google slide or some other presentation, and you'll post it here, and that's how you give your presentation to the class. You post it here. So let me back up. Okay, so weeks 1 through 3, it's more of an FAQ. You can ask questions or whatever. You can check and say we're good. Weeks 4 and 5, the discussions, very specific things you have to post, but it's all intentional. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, your papers. Week 1, you write a literary analysis paper on fiction. Week 2, and the course explains how to do that. And you can, of course, ask questions in the forum. Week 2, you do the same thing except on poetry, so you're focusing on the literary elements in poetry, in specific poems that you pick up from your textbook. Week 3, you start writing your research paper proposal for the class. So week 3, you're figuring out what your paper is, but you probably want to start figuring out, like week 1 or so. Week 4, you're doing all your research, and you're finding resources to back up your paper, and you write up a section of your research paper called the literature review that you post. And then week 5, you finish the rest of the research paper, you post it, you take your post test, and you're out. So 13 activities and 1,000 points possible. Every 10 points is 1% of your grade. That's a quick rundown. Everything else is explained in the course, but I want to make sure I made this video to kind of just run through everything. It's like, this is how the class works. Okay, so if you have questions, obviously you can email me, you can post it in discussion, or I pay attention to the forum under the video if you post it there. Now, if you've watched this video, you're not part of my class, and you have questions, I'm always open to answering those. I love answering questions for anybody who watches the videos. This class is offered at Eastern Arizona College. To take it, you do have to be a student there, but if you have questions relating to English or any other video that I post, fair game. Ask a question. If there's something you want me to make a video about, I'll be glad to make it, because I enjoy doing that too. So, hey, thanks everybody for watching this. I hope this kind of explains the class and makes sense. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video or in a forum somewhere. So, thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.